Thank you so much, Al Kokon. Of course, I would like to share our gratitude with our host and hostess, the Hiller family, for having us here tonight. Rav Kokon said that I would share some thoughts with you tonight. I don't have any thoughts now. After today, all I have is feelings, not thoughts. I was wondering all day today, what was the schus that Toronto had to be the only place in the world where there's a yeshiva for the deaf and the hard of hearing? And all of you who are here to support it, what an enormous schus you have. You know, in this week's Parsha, we talk about the Kedusha of the Kohen Gadol, and we're told that the Kohen Gadol was never allowed to come into any contact with any tumah, even if it was for his parents. If a father, chas v'shalom, a father or mother died, the Kohen Gadol was not allowed to contact them. With one exception. If there was a mes mitzvah, he came across a body that no one was going to bother with, then the Kohen Gadol, who was not allowed to contact his father or mother, had the obligation to take care of the mes mitzvah because no one else would do it. And that is a concept not only for the Kohen Gadol, that is a concept all over Yiddishkeit. There are all kinds of mitzvahs. And Baruch Hashem, many people do many mitzvahs. But there are some mitzvahs that are in the category of mes mitzvah that no one else is bothering with them. And that is a mitzvah of such enormous proportions that the Kohen Gadol's Kedusha is set aside. Children who could not have an opportunity to learn the Torah HaKdosha anywhere in the world have the opportunity here. Many, many yeshivas are doing wonderful things, and they all need your support. But remember, this is the only place where a child who is hard of hearing or deaf has access to Torah. And access to Torah means access to life. You remember the halacha that if someone accidentally killed another person, he has to go to Golus, he has to go to one of the several cities that were designated for cities of refuge. And the halacha is that if this happened to be a talmid of a yeshiva, and he has to go for years into refuge, maybe for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, the halacha is that his Rabbi must go with him into that city of refuge. Why? Because the Torah says he should live there. And life without Torah is not life. And so what you're providing for these young people is not only an education in Torah, not only an ability to have genuine Yiddishkeit, but you're providing them with life, with actual life. Now, I want to tell you a little bit I said about feelings that I've had here today. You know, back in the days when I worked as a doctor, one of my thrills of being a doctor was working in the emergency room and having the opportunity to be a hero And sometimes when they brought in a patient who had a severe asthmatic attack, and the patient was struggling for air and could not breathe, and I came over with a very simple injection, and 2 seconds later, the patient sits up and he says, "Oh, thank you, doctor. I can breathe again." I felt like a hero. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to be able to give somebody the breath of life. That's what you should all be feeling like. You're giving these young people a breath of life that no one else could give them. But I must tell you, my friends, that I've been in Toronto before. Baruch Hashem, I've been here for simchas, for other occasions. And I generally leave Toronto with a very happy feeling. It's a little bit different today. The Talmud says that Hillel, the great Hillel, Mechayev Aniyim, he makes the poor feel guilty. Why? Because if a poor person would say, well, I couldn't learn Torah, I couldn't afford a teacher, I couldn't afford a school, I couldn't afford this. So they said, Hillel was poorer than you. Hillel used to chop wood all week to earn a living and then give half of it for the parnosa of his family and the other half to the besmedrash that he should be able to study. And if Hillel could study in his poverty, then no one has an excuse. Rabbi Loza ben Azariah, he would make the wealthy feel guilty. Because a wealthy person said, well, how could I spend time learning? I had so many things in this business to take care of, in this business, and all day I was involved in transactions and in meetings, whatever. And they say, wait a minute. Rabbi Loza ben Azariah was enormously wealthy. And yet, he was able to find time to become a Tana in the Talmud. So, neither poverty nor wealth is an excuse for not learning properly. I sat there today with young people who have a difficulty getting words out of their mouth, who have a difficulty in listening to what somebody's trying to teach them. And with their Mesiras Nefesh, because they want to learn Torah, they break all those barriers and are dedicated. And they have the thirst for learning Torah and nothing stands in their way. And I have to look at myself. I can, Baruch Hashem, speak. And when somebody gives a shiur, I can hear every word. I don't have the difficulties. Where's my Mesiras Nefesh for Torah? It's a difficult feeling. I'm leaving Toronto with some pain. But it's a good kind of pain. I once was sitting in a dentist's office, and I came across an article in a magazine, How Do Lobsters Grow? I never cared how lobsters grow. Do you care how lobsters grow? But it was interesting that after all, a lobster is a soft animal, and it lives in this very hard shell that does not expand, it's not flexible. How can the lobster ever grow bigger? And the article said that when the lobster grows, this shell becomes very confining and very oppressive, and the lobster feels very uncomfortable. So it hides under a rock to protect it from fish that might eat it, and it sheds off the shell, and it grows and produces a new one, a larger one, a more spacious one where it feels comfortable. Well, as the lobster continues to grow, this new shell becomes very tight and oppressive, and it feels uncomfortable again. Now what? Back under the rock, throw off the shell, grow a bigger one, and then again, and again, and it does so many times until it reaches its maximum size. What that article told me, that if the lobster did not feel the pain, it would never grow. It's when it feels uncomfortable that it realizes, I'm in too tight a spot. I've got to do something to be able to grow. I always say, thank God that lobsters don't have doctors. Dr. Bressler is the pain doctor, right? A lobster would go to a doctor and get a medication for pain and would die this big, right? The thing that enables a lobster to grow, right, is the fact that it has pain, and that shows that it is time to grow. Now, of course, people who come with the pain to Dr. Bressler, they need his treatment. But what about our spiritual pain? What do we do when we have spiritual pain? Go for a tranquilizer? When we have spiritual pain, it's time to grow. I had a spiritual pain today. I was sitting with kids who were mitchen. Is that the way you do word mitchen? Huh? They were struggling to learn. Didn't come easy to them. And I started looking at myself. How much am I willing to struggle? I look up to all of those youngsters who are so much better than me. And I look up to their Rebbeim who are investing so much effort and so much Mesiras Nefesh. Something was said in the video about relationships. You know, something happened about relationships with Rebbeim and Talmidim, and I don't understand why. When my brother, Hansi, you mentioned my brother, if you would have asked my brother, this was back in the 1930s, if you would ask him where he learned, he would say, by Reb Shloime. He was referring to Reb Shloime Hyman. If you would ask somebody from Lakewood, where did they learn? By Reb Aaron. Right? If you would have asked somebody from Besmet Shalom where they learn, by Reb Reuven. Ask somebody today where they learn. In Ponevezh, in Mir, in Chibin. All wonderful places, but they're places, not people. What happened with the relationship with the Talmud to the Rosh Yeshiva? It's a mystery to me. But I'm just telling you the fact as I see it. But I saw the relationship in Nefesh Dovid of the kids to the Rebbes. I saw the relationship that they have with Rabbi Kakon. It's not a place. It's a person. And this is the magic that enables the children to have that desire for Torah and to be willing to invest all their energies and to struggle to get the beauty that Torah has to teach them. So I say, no, I'm not leaving here with an easy heart the way I used to, because it is a pain, but I believe it is a constructive pain. like the lobster. Hopefully it's a pain that'll help me to grow. Right? And you better believe that the next time that I listen to a shiur, right, I'll appreciate every single word that I hear. Nefesh Dovid. Nothing happens accidentally. Nothing is b'mikra. Everything is hashgacha. The Medrash says that David HaMelech did not have one good day in all of his 70 years. Now, I don't want to go into the details about it, but every day of David's life was suffering. And yet, David HaMelech was able to say, Nosato simcha belibi. And if you go through Tehillim, you'll find that although many times he complains about his sorrows, right, he repeatedly says, Sameach nefesh avdecha, completely suffering, but looking and aspiring and achieving simcha. And I think that's what Nefesh Dovid is about. It's pain, it's struggle, but the result is simcha. And it's not only simcha for the young people who are going to go through and get a new look on life and a new possibility of living a full life, but it should be simcha for every one of you. Okay? And I might tell you that if there's anything at all that ever happens, and things do happen in life that sometimes cause us to be a little bit down, if anything should ever happen, right, that causes any of us to be in any way dejected, Chas v'Sholom said, right, we should immediately be able to have the simcha of David HaMelech, the simcha of being able to know that we were part of Nefesh Dovid, and that we have the schus of this mitzvah, which is untouched by anyone else in the entire world. Is chus for the community of Toronto. Sameach nefesh avdecha. Hashem should bless you all with enormous simcha, hatzlocha, and brocha, and mazel, and this enormous chus of supporting Nefesh Dovid, right, should give you a zechus in everything that you do, for yourself, for your mishpoches, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren, to see a great deal of nachas and to be zoiche to a true simcha all the time. Thank you for listening.
On behalf of Yeshiva's Nefesh Dovid, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your time and effort and coming out tonight and showing your support. Thank you for doing your part in helping us carry out this mission. I'd like to once again thank the Heller family for hosting this evening's event. And I'd also like to give our KosherTube to Rav Twersky, who actually was not feeling well yesterday, and Baruch Hashem, he's able to make it, and it's a wonderful zchus. Special thank you to Rabbi and Rebbitzin Cocoon and Dr. and Mrs. Hart Bressler for allowing me the opportunity to be involved on a day-to-day basis with such an amazing yeshiva, and amazing people, and it's a wonderful zchus.